GMFB, but
Sure.
as the judge and jury on this set, I will allow it. Who had a more disappointing end to this season over the weekend? I know, I'm sorry.
It's okay.
It's because we talked so highly of these teams and thought they could do it at the end of last week.
Peter, who sucked the most over the weekend? Who
Peter?
That's not what she said.
I'll allow it. Chargers or Steelers, Peter?
Step into my office. This is where I cook. Look, Steelers were 10-3, and they were like looking at the 1 seed, and they never won again the rest of the season. So that's awful. But can we stop with the Justin Herbert fan fiction every year? I know, I'm sorry, and Chargers fans, you're gonna get it, but like, we can't just group him into that big four yet. We can't with Lamar and Burrow and Mahomes and Allen. You gotta win a playoff game. You have to show up for a playoff game. All regular season, we raved about Herbert. Why? Because he threw 3 interceptions all regular season. Let's see them. Let's see the 3 Justin Herbert interceptions. This was against the Panthers, rolling right across his body. Great pick there by J.C. Horn. That's going to happen. All right, here, a play action against the Bucs. Throws it off his back foot. It's going to happen. Jamel Dean gets him. Fine. The 3rd interception was against the Broncos in a game they won on Thursday night. An outstanding interception there. And that was it for the whole regular season. 3 interceptions the whole year for Justin Herbert. And we're trying to force him into that conversation with the Big Four. We get to the playoff game. Let's get that little ticker going. You might as well. 1, okay, off his back foot, across his body. That was 1. This is 2, overthrows McConkey. Johnny on the spot right there. And we know what happened after that point. 3. So now we're at 3, and maybe you can blame Disley on that. All right, fine. 4 interceptions in this game. He threw more interceptions in this game than he did all season long in 17 starts. We just started the show talking about how Jaden Daniels saved his best for last and in the postseason didn't waver and was like, I will rise to the occasion. Justin Herbert didn't, and now he's 0-2, and after 5 years not having a playoff win, I can't do it. I can't put him in that conversation with Burrow, Lamar, and of course with Mahomes and Allen, and I know that sounds mean and I'm piling on. I'm not. I think we expect it right here. He's in a different tier right now. He's in that Tua tier, and he's in that tier of those other guys that haven't had that playoff success. 3 interceptions all year, 4 interceptions in a playoff game. Give all the credit to Houston if we want, and their Houston defense was great. I would have liked to have seen Justin Herbert elevate his game. And I know he doesn't have the same weapons as everyone else. I don't want to hear it.
Yeah, but Peter, have you seen the coach's tape? I follow many social accounts who look at all the tapes and they say he's first ballot Hall of Fame, Peter. You got to watch the coach's tape. You don't know. Never mind what happened in the playoff game. Just watch the tape, and he's the best quarterback.
Well, they're projecting. They're projecting, what Justin Herbert can be and will be eventually. I believe in Justin Herbert. When you look at this game, I think it's to answer the question, the Chargers, I think, was the most disappointing because I think there was so much hope. I thought that they were going to win this game, no doubt about it. They're eating me up on the X. What'd you say again? Yeah, I thought that they were going to be the better team. And in the first 20 minutes, when you look at the way they played the game, like they were in control. When I look at it, the Texans only had 2 first downs, but it was this right here, the inability to stop the lethal force that they had up front with Anderson and Hunter and Autry. 4 interceptions, but there were also 4 sacks in this game. He was under constant duress, and that is very, very difficult. I think the other part of that, too, is that, and look, I'm on this thread with all of my former Charger teammates, and we just kind of go back and forth. It's like old school 2006 locker room banter from Turner to Osgood to everybody. You get Godfrey. All these guys are on this thread. And the one thing I think the general consensus is that we need a dog. Like, Ladd McConkey is an amazing wide receiver, and he's shown that. But we need that vertical deep threat. We need that, sure. When I look at the wide receiver position or even, the running, they couldn't even get the running game going. And this is something that the Chargers have prided themselves with. Coach Roman, that's something that he wants is to have established a very good run game. They didn't have that, and they weren't able to make it all the way through in this playoff game. But that, to me, was disappointing. I really thought that they were going to go forward and sneak attack a lot of folks.
We said it 1,000 times, what Peter said. This is the time that Herbert jumps up. This is your moments. Listen, they were road favorites in the playoffs. Like, you just don't see that. If you go around up and down this network, any other network, those little prediction things, that's all lightning bolts and lightning bolts. There's no bull skull, whatever the hell the Texans have. I picked the Chargers. You picked the Chargers. That is all right, let's do some history, though, on Herbert. Justin Herbert is the only Chargers quarterback to ever throw a pick six in the playoffs. Rivers never did it, on and on and on. Justin Herbert has never thrown 3 interceptions even. He threw 4. Not even 3 in an NFL game. He never threw 3 in a college game. He never threw 3 in a high school game. And now we're in a playoff game throwing 4. Can you imagine that? He just doesn't do it. He doesn't throw interceptions as part of his game. He's like in Rodgers 2.0 in that sense. And then for him to come back and be like, well, the only time I've ever been in the playoffs is one of the worst blown leads in playoff history. Watch this now. I like him. You like him. But I think if there's certain people that we pounce that are easy, they're low-hanging fruit, whether it's Dak Prescott or now Jordan Love, you can't just not be critical of Herbert because you like him or because your analytics person that you follow says he's talented or someone who grinds a lot of tape says he's amazing. He threw 4 picks in a playoff game. And then there's the deal about they weren't all his fault. They're deflections. I totally get it. That's not how it works, though. You're going to see next fall when we start talking about the Chargers again. No one's going to be like, but remember, those interceptions in January, one of them was up. He threw 4 picks in a playoff game and was terrible. Now I'll segue to something much more constructive. Let's talk about the Steelers the other night. That was good.
Oh, my goodness.
So I don't have the energy, and I did it yesterday again to do the Mike Tomlin thing. It's very well documented how I feel about that. He's been 8 years now without a playoff game. It's so rare that we look at Pittsburgh and you're like, where is this franchise headed? It seems like directionless. Even if they lose, even if they barely miss the playoffs, they always have a direction. You always know that brand, what you're getting. I have no idea who their quarterback is next year. I don't think they do. The other key players in their offense. George Pickens is like, it's time to be paid. I don't know if the Steelers are going to do that. Najee Harris, it's time to be paid. I don't know if the Steelers are going to do that. This is the pillar guys. TJ Watt, I think he might be hurt, but the last couple of weeks of the season did not register a stat. He's not showing up in these games. And Baltimore's entire way of running the offense was just messing with TJ Watt, who I thought was the best player in the league at any position. So the Steelers are directionless right now. And so either you go behind this head coach again and say, we still believe, and we're just going to keep stomping our foot, or you do make a change. Now, you could say, Mike, we're going to look to what the Philadelphia Eagles did at one point with Andy Reid and said, wonderful run, but I think it might be in the best interest of both of us to change. And it was. And if you say, how are you going to replace Mike Tomlin? Well, you could also have said, how are you going to replace Bill Cowher? They're very good at doing that stuff. Or if you want to get saucy with it, you get on the phone and you say, you want to trade coaches? You want to trade picks for a coach? We'd like to move on with Mike Tomlin and handle it with class and dignity and maybe pat our wallet a little bit. Or you just say, nope, 1 more season or 10 more seasons. I know that he's gone 8 years without a playoff game. I know that Chuck Noll never went more than 4 years and Bill Cowher never went more than 3 years, but we're going to keep continuing to do this. That's all I have. I don't know if they're going to change coaches. A lot of people say they shouldn't change coaches.
Yeah,
I say they should at least entertain it, and at this point, it's just not working. That was not a good product they put on the field the other night. In the first half, there was a deplorable product.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. It was just really bad.
What was the word you used? Undignified on game day morning.
They're the most dignified franchise in all of sports.
Yeah,
you can have your New York Yankees, you can have your New York Knicks, LA Lakers. The Pittsburgh Steelers are the most dignified franchise in sports. What I saw in the first half was like, guys, I'm embarrassed by this. I mean, this is like an athlete late in his career. This is Willie Mays on the Mets. I don't like this. I don't want to watch this.
Uncomfortable to watch. And we're